New York Jets fans, I want you to do me a favor. Go ahead and put the word out after this NFL draft that the New York Jets, we back up. Salute to Jets Nation on this Monday morning. I hope you guys had an amazing weekend. And if it's one team who had an amazing weekend, who are big winners in this NFL draft, it's the New York Jets. And we're going to talk about everything from the draft in the first round. We're going to talk about the other rounds in later videos leading up to Thursday when the gang gets back together. But we're going to start off with the first round today, where the Jets made an absolute statement, especially on the offensive end. So welcome in. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, as well as type "Let's Go Jets" in the chat, man. It lets us know that you guys are watching. Put an airplane emoji in the chat. Put a fire emoji in the chat. Let us know how you guys are feeling after the Jets had a spectacular first round in the NFL draft. And also shout out to our sponsor for the episode, Prize Picks. You play $50 and you play $5, you get $50 instantly in lineups when you use code HMA. Shout out to Prize Picks, America's #1 sports picks app. But let's go ahead and get into the show, man, because in my opinion, the New York Jets were the big winners in the first round of the NFL draft. Starting out pick 2. Now, there was a lot of questions around who the New York Jets were going to draft at pick 2. There was a debate in between David Bailey and Arvell Reese. There were some reports last week that the New York Jets canceled their meeting or their workout with David Bailey. It led to a lot of speculation that, okay, maybe it's because they know that he's not the guy, and Arvell Reese is the guy which he's been projected to be over these past couple of months. You know your football, huh? Well, good, because I got a little challenge for you before we get back into the video. I got to tell you about Prize Picks, America's #1 sports pick app. Here's the challenge. Know your football? Put your money where your knowledge is, because if you're tapped into the New York Jets like everybody on Jets Roundtable, this is where things get interesting, because whether it's predicting passing yards, touchdowns, or how the offense is going to look this week, it makes every game hit just a little different. The app is super simple. All you got to do is pick more or less on a few player stats. That's it. You lock in your lineup and you're good to go for game day. But they also got team picks, so you can pick the winner, the spread, or even a total on any major game, not just player props. Now, here's the best part. Prize Picks is available in most states, including California, Texas, and Florida. So right now, if you're a new user, you don't want to miss this. You play $5 and get $50 in lineups when you download the app and use code HMA. I made sure to put the link in the description for you. Now make sure you play responsibly. Now let's get back to the video. Or could it be that the New York Jets are selecting David Bailey and they already know what they have in the talent of David Bailey, the edge rusher from Texas Tech? And we got our answer. Because at pick number 2, the New York Jets select David Bailey from Texas Tech. You see the stats on the screen, man. Absolute monster. 14.5 sacks in his last college year, a 21.3 pressure rate. Tackles for loss, he had 19.5, 81 pressures, ranked #1 and 2 in these stats in the FBS. This was the guy. And we talked about it on this channel when we broke down after Arvell Reese had, the workout that everybody panicked about. We kind of dismissed those on this channel. We understand that he was working out of position on those drills. Could it be that the New York Jets saw him running those pass rushing drills, and maybe it affected the New York Jets' opinion on him? Maybe it's that. But the difference in between Arvell Reese and David Bailey is that Arvell Reese is still kind of a project. You're betting on Arvell Reese's upside. With David Bailey, you see the numbers on the screen. The production is there. Their experience is there, playing 3-4 years in college. He has everything that you were looking for, and the Jets were looking for a pass rusher at pick 2, and David Bailey was the perfect selection for them. Now, let me get into the reason why I think they chose David Bailey. The talent is there. Okay, but let's kind of dig a little bit deeper into why the New York Jets have possibly chose David Bailey over Arvell Reese, because I believed, and everybody on this channel believed, that you can't really go wrong with either selection. When it comes to Arvell Reese, yes, you are betting on upside, but you have a player that can play multiple positions. He can play on the edge, he can play in the linebacker spot. So if he's not the greatest edge rusher, you still have a good linebacker with great field anticipation to try to get to the ball, try to get to the running back, or try to get to the quarterback in the backfield. We've seen highlights on here of what Arvell Reese can do. But when it comes to David Bailey, he's more of like the safe pick. And if David Bailey don't work out, then you just kind of lose out on your number 2 pick. But I don't think the Jets are going to miss out on this guy, David Bailey. This guy, David Bailey, is an absolute monster. And we're going to get into a couple of things. We're going to get into what the Jets' process was, their mindset on why they chose David Bailey. We're going to get into some comments that Aaron Glenn had of his scouting of David Bailey, because this was the pick. And when we did the breakdown with Arvell Reese and we compared the two, I said, in my opinion, if I'm the New York Jets, I'm choosing David Bailey all day. Like, it's not necessarily because I didn't believe in the things that Arvell Reese was able to do. Arvell Reese was drawing comps to Micah Parsons. That would be amazing for the New York Jets. The New York Jets were actually in trade talks with the Dallas Cowboys to acquire Micah Parsons, according to reports, after the trade was made. But when it comes to David Bailey, we talk about timelines a lot on this channel, especially when it comes to Aaron Glenn. We believe that Aaron Glenn is on the hottest seat in the NFL. The moves that the New York Jets made during the offseason, having acquisitions like Demario Davis, Minkah Fitzpatrick, guys on that defensive line, filling out the edge position, trading for guys like T'Vondre Sweat because they're switching to a 3-4 system. And we've seen the way they maneuvered in this draft. The Jets' mentality isn't, let's give up the 2026 season and get to the 27th draft. That's not their mindset. With Aaron Glenn being on a hot seat and now with him coaching his defense, the time to win is now for Aaron Glenn and this organization. That's something that they showed us. And I do believe that factored in heavy to the pick of David Bailey. Now let's get into how the Jets felt about this process, because Tom Pelissero appeared on the Dan Patrick program, and he explains the Jets' pre-draft thought process on David Bailey. And here's his quote. He says, "I know there was drama publicly, and they weren't going to say whether it was David Bailey or Arvell Reese. That is true. GM Darren Muji even came out and said, when he was asked about the canceled workout or the canceled meeting with David Bailey, that there was a little bit of gamesmanship on his part, that there are some smoke screens involved when it comes to the moves that the New York Jets are making over the course of their draft process." And this is pretty much it. This is the public drama that Tom Pelissero is talking about. He goes on to say that they knew it was Bailey. And if you talk to 10 people around the NFL, 9 or 10 are going to say, you have to take Bailey. He's the best pass rusher in the draft. Arvell Reese, really talented player, but it's a projection, like we've talked about. You're betting on Arvell Reese's upside with his raw talent. And it said this about the cancel meeting. This dispersed or dispelled whatever rumors that we had that, hey, they're canceling the meeting on David Bailey because they know they have their guy in Arvell Reese, and they don't want to waste their time. This clearly disputes that. It says here they didn't need any more information on him. I mean, that's it. Like, he's a clean player. You usually use visits if you got medical or character stuff that you need. But in terms of what the Jets ended up doing, yeah, David Bailey, he was a clean prospect. He was the obvious guy. Maybe on some level, you're trying to keep alive the intrigue of, hey, we might take the other guy, make us an offer, but come up and get him. So there were a lot of rumors that, hey, what are the Jets going to do? Are the Jets going to trade down with a number 2 pick and maybe get to the 3 or 4 spot? If those teams loved Arvell Reese, could they trade down? Possibility to get some more picks later on. That's actually not what happened. The New York Jets had their guy at number 2 and decided to choose David Bailey. So you guys sound off in the comments. Let us know how you felt about this David Bailey move, because it was a surprise to a lot. A lot of people had it dead set that the New York Jets would take it Arvell Reese. Me, I wasn't that sure. Now, there was a momentum swell of Arvell Reese. A lot of people were saying it's going to be Arvell Reese. It was going to be Arvell Reese. But over the past couple of weeks before the New York draft, the momentum totally swung towards David Bailey. And like we talked about on this show, I can see why, especially when it comes to the timeline, especially when it comes to the monster stats that he had. I mean, come on, let's look at the stats again. Are you crazy? 14.5 sacks in a season, ranked number 1 in the FBS, especially when it comes to the pressure rate. The New York Jets had mad issues getting to the quarterback last season, especially with the acquisitions that they have on the defensive line this year, tied in with Kyle Dunbar. The Jets are looking to create havoc for any offensive line in the NFL in the 2026 season. And David Bailey is going to be a great addition to that defensive line. Let's go ahead and look at some highlight tape from the guy, because they show you here. They show you here. Let me make sure I got it correct. Yep, I do. Let's show it here. It says he has an explosive first step. You see that first step. David Bailey snaps off the line immediate. A dynamic pass rusher, able to spin move out of any coverage that they have for him. And the question about David Bailey was power. We see here, ain't nothing wrong with that power, bro. He gonna push you back to get to that quarterback. Backside close, able, even if on the backside, he's able to sneak through the line, explode through the gap, and still get the running back 4 tackles for loss. And we see the New York Jets in the war room celebrating the acquisition of one David Bailey. So you guys sound off in the comments. Let me know how you feel about the Jets selecting David Bailey at number 2. I love it. I absolutely love it. And I know the Jets do too, because there was comments from Aaron Glenn before the draft that we're not going to worry about who everybody else thinks we should select. We're going to select the players that fit our system, fit what we want to do, but most of all, the players that we're in love with. And David Bailey seems like, or it doesn't seem like, it's official, he is one of those guys. Another thing I want to share for you, here is Aaron Glenn on his scouting report of David Bailey and what he thought of David Bailey and the reason why the New York Jets went ahead and pulled the trigger to draft him. So let's hear what Aaron Glenn has to say, and then we'll react to it.
That's obvious when you watch the tape. The way he's able to beat tackles around the edge, but don't take him for a guy that could just like rush with speed around the edge. Man, there are several long arm, there are several power things that he's done, within his game that allows him to be able to show that he can rush with power. So, listen, we're going to try to unlock everything that he can. Man.
They're going to try to unlock all of that. He spoke about what people were concerned about. Like, I guess that's the really only knock. I think you're nitpicking at that point when it comes to David Bailey. Oh, well, he may not be that powerful. He may be strictly just an edge rusher. He can't be a power edge rusher. We saw in those highlights, that's not the case. David Bailey has plenty of power to him, an absolute monster when it comes to getting into the backfield, and especially when it comes to getting to the quarterback when we just looked at his stats. So you guys sound off in the comments. Do you have belief that David Bailey will be an absolute monster this season? My only kind of concern is, okay, what happens if we're in week 5 and David Bailey only has like 2 sacks? Do Jets fans turn on him? Like Aaron Glenn did bring up that there are going to be some things that we need to develop, and that's fair. Like every draft prospect that's in this year's draft is going to take some developing. But you would rather develop a guy with the numbers like David Bailey, especially when it comes to the timeline of the New York Jets. So maybe just not the timeline of the New York Jets, the timeline of Aaron Glenn getting this thing together. You would rather choose a guy that has the proven production and experience. He got better year by year at Texas Tech. We went over that in previous videos as well. This was the choice. And I honestly believe, like, I'm not mad at it. Like, I love the choice for Aaron Glenn. He's going to be coaching his defense. He's going to need absolute dogs on that defense after what we saw last year. It was terrible last year, what we saw from this defensive line. Will McDonald was pretty much the only highlight on the defensive line, and he had 8 sacks. I don't want to say only had 8 sacks. He had 8 sacks, but when you kind of look at the context of that, he had 4 sacks in one game, 4 sacks in another. So they still have a dominant pass rusher in Will McDonald, and having a guy like David Bailey paired up with the leadership of Demario Davis, who's going to be a quarterback for that defense, and a guy like Will McDonald that you could spell in on 3rd downs, 4th downs. This New York Jets defensive line looks a little bit nasty. So you guys sound off in the comments and you let me know how you felt about the David Bailey selection, because I absolutely love it. Now let's get into pick 16, because pick 16 has been the biggest debate, the biggest question around what the New York Jets were going to do. It started off with, okay, Dan Orlovsky came out with his opinion on Ty Simpson. While most people think he was wrong about his analogy of, or not his analogy, but, his assessment of Ty Simpson possibly being the best quarterback in this draft. And shout out to Ty Simpson. He got actually drafted to the Los Angeles Rams. He looked like he will be the heir apparent to Matthew Stafford over there, so salute to him. But there was talks that maybe the Jets, if the Jets are looking for a quarterback in this year's draft, is it possible that they go with Ty Simpson at 16? Now, we did kind of dispel that. We didn't think that the Jets would make that move, draft Ty Simpson that high in the draft. Maybe if he slipped down to the 2nd round at pick 33, they would take him. But we all believed that Ty Simpson wasn't going to slip to pick 33. Pretty much all of us knew that due to the momentum that was behind him, he would be drafted in the 1st round, which he was. So the Jets instead went towards the skill position. You see that guy over there? See that guy on that banner over there, Garrett Wilson? I've been begging all offseason. Get this guy Garrett Wilson some help. Now, there was talks about Mekhi Lemon. The Jets chose not to choose Mekhi Lemon. Maybe they saw something in Mekhi Lemon. There was reports that the Jets weren't a fan. So maybe those meetings during the combine, I think he met with the New York Jets. I do believe I heard he met with the New York Jets. Maybe he showed some of that to the New York Jets, and the Jets kind of were turned off of him. Now, he did slip. I think he got picked at pick 22, I do believe. So he slipped down in the draft. He got drafted a lot lower than I thought. And the other guy that the New York Jets that we thought that was going to take at pick 16, if they didn't want Mekhi Lemon, if they didn't want Jordy Tyson, they didn't want Dexter Boston, was Omar Cooper. And we'll get into him in a second. But the New York Jets instead decided to go with the guy that I honestly thought was a serious option for the New York Jets, and Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end from Oregon. 6'3", 245 pounds, freakish athlete, guys. We're talking about running a 4.32 40-yard run time at the combine, at the tight end spot. Beast, had 560 yards last season and 8 touchdowns. Now, the knock on Kenyon Sadiq is kind of the same thing that we knocked A.D. Mitchell for. He could come up with the case of the dropsies. So that's the only knock when it comes to Kenyon Sadiq, but he's athletic, a versatile weapon who can move after the catch, gives you real upside as a pass blocker. And here's the best part. They still got Mason Taylor on the other side of there. And Mason Taylor is one of those guys, too, that needs his potential unlocked. We didn't get to see a lot of him in the previous season. And I don't think Kenyon Sadiq is a replacement of Mason Taylor at all. I think we're going to see the best out of both tight ends that we have, especially now with Frank Wright calling this offense. Frank Wright loves the tight ends as an option. And Kenyon Sadiq looks like he's going to be one of those guys. Let's go ahead and look. It says here, the breakdown for Kenyon Sadiq: explosive athlete. We talk about his 40 time. Desire to block. We talked about that. Wants to be a better blocker. Wants to be developed to being a better blocker for the New York Jets. And the comp that they have for Kenyon Sadiq here is Dustin Keller. Very familiar with that guy, Dustin Keller, aren't we? So let's go ahead and play this video. Let's look at some of these highlights from him. Yards after catch type weapon. Gets the ball on the screen. Bounces off the tackle. Touchdown. Physical, athletic, jumping over, hurdling defenders. vertical speed, does have speed on the outside, can't get past a defensive back, strong hands, can't catch in traffic, effort blocker, like they said, wants to be a better blocker. Good block from him right there. But that's the guy that the New York Jets have at pick 16. Shout out to Jets Press, who was on it. I got that from Jets Press. We talked about that article here where they were talking about maybe a sleeper pick for the New York Jets at pick 16. They were right on the money with Kenyon Sadiq. And I did say on a podcast, I did say on the live videos that we have on Thursday, make sure you guys tune in. Richie, salute. Jake, salute. Matt, salute. Dylan, salute. The guys, the gang. I did say when we were talking about who could be the best wide receiver prospect in this draft, while they were naming names like Omar Cooper, they were naming names like Jordan Tyson, Mekhi. I said that I wanted the Jets to draft Mekhi Lemon, but if Mekhi Lemon was an option, Kenyon Sadiq is no throwaway, nothing to poo-poo. And the New York Jets obviously feel the same way. And we have actually comments from Aaron Glenn saying that the prospect of Kenyon Sadiq was a no-brainer. So let's pull this up. Let's hear what the Moosh has to say. Shout out to the Moosh, by the way. Amazing draft, my guy. Shout out to the Moosh. Here's Darren Mougey on the no-brainer pick of Kenyon Sadiq. Let's listen and then react.
Sadiq was a player that obviously we studied, spent a lot of time on, and valued as an offensive weapon. And when he was there, it was really a no-brainer for us just to add another weapon to the offense. And Frank's got a great vision for the player and how we can use him in multiple ways and get in 12 personnel and do different things and just use him as another weapon and make it tough on the defense. So Sadiq.
I like to hear that from Darren Moose. He says that this is a guy that Frank Wright wanted. So there's been a collaborative effort from the Jets, not only defensive coaching staff. We know Aaron Glenn, he has that on smash, on lock. But when it comes to the offensive side of the ball, Frank Wright, according to Aaron Glenn, this is Aaron Glenn's words, Frank Wright will be the head coach of the offense. We've seen his offense with the Indiana Colts. He loves tight ends. Kenyon Sadiq is going to be one of those guys, a versatile type tight end that you don't necessarily need to line up at the tight end spot all the time. He can play the slot as well. Kenyon Sadiq is he's a wide receiver in a tight end's body. That spells danger for any defense as long as the New York Jets put him in a situation to be the most successful, which I believe they will in Kenyon Sadiq. So you guys sound off in the comments. Let me know. Were you shocked when you heard this selection of Kenyon Sadiq? And how did you feel when you first heard it? Because I know even Connor Hughes has been reporting this whole time. Shout out to Connor Hughes on this too. Connor Hughes reported that while everybody was talking about, Ty Simpson at 16, could he be a possibility? He stood 10 toes down on the information that he heard that the Jets want a playmaker at 16. They're looking towards wide receiver. That is their preferred choice at 16. Now, that's why the Kenyon Sadiq thing is a little bit shocking, because if you just look at it on paper, Kenyon Sadiq isn't a wide receiver. He's a tight end. But like I just said, Kenyon Sadiq is a wide receiver trapped in a tight end's body, has the skills of a wide receiver, has the speed, has the yards after catch, has the playmaking ability, has the athleticism to not only catch the ball and get through contact to catch in contact, but as well as the athleticism to hurdle over defenders to get to the first down or the touchdown he needs. Welcome to the New York Jets, Kenyon Sadiq. I'm sure he will be amazing. Now let's get to, this is the Darren Mougey thing. This is where we say thank you, Darren Mougey, the shrewd move. The shrewd moves from Darren Mougey that we've seen all season long in the free agency and in the draft. The New York Jets trade up to get Omar Cooper Jr. to go with this offense to help out our guy, G5. Omar Cooper Jr., wide receiver, Indiana, champion. Can't take that away from him. 6'1", 200 pounds, finished with 69 receptions, 973 yards, and 13 touchdowns last season. He's a legit deep threat, strong at the catch point, and has the tools to develop into a serious playmaker on the outside. Let me show you guys why, man. This guy, Omar Cooper, is going to be something special on the other side of the field with Garrett Wilson. This is going to be the guy. Competitive style, catches the ball at the top of the point, lays out for it, can't get him down. Strong wide receiver. Polished routes. You see his route running here. Fakes on the outside. Physicality, yards after catch. It seems like it's really hard to bring this guy down. He's going to fight for every single yard. He attacks the ball at the point of the catch. Look at this. Look at this highlight. Look at this athleticism. Jumping up to get that for touchdown for the Indiana Hoosiers. Great weapon to add to this offense for the New York Jets. Helping out, not only, this is why I feel like the first round was amazing for the New York Jets. Aaron Glenn gets this guy at number 2. You get yourself a proven pass rusher who can get to the quarterback anytime he wants. You got that. Then on the offensive side, you spend early draft compensation to help out this offense. Now that we take a look at this offense, let me see if I could pull up Rich Samini real quick, because he shows you the full depth chart of what this offense is going to look like. But the Jets made it a priority. People were having questions during the offseason, especially during free agency, about the wide receiver room. Now, Darren Muji made some comments saying that he felt good about the wide receiver room, and it kind of made us feel a little bit weird about it, because it's like, okay, you have A.D. Mitchell there, but how do the Jets really feel about A.D. Mitchell? Now, a lot of people were telling me, hey, you're devaluing what A.D. Mitchell can mean to this team. That wasn't my intent. When it comes how I talked about A.D. Mitchell, I do understand how good A.D. Mitchell can be. We haven't seen the best of A.D. Mitchell, and maybe in this Frank Reich system, we'll be able to see that. But we didn't see the best of A.D. Mitchell last season. He was good, but he wasn't great. And Garrett Wilson is in desperate need of somebody on the outside, so he's not getting doubled and triple teamed every coverage that he sees. Another reason, the New York Jets just acquired Geno Smith as quarterback. And it appears the Jets didn't draft a quarterback until the 4th round in Klubnik. We'll talk about that in a later video. We'll get into, the quarterback situation and how the Jets feel about Cade Klubnik. But I felt like Geno Smith needed elite talent at the skills positions in order for him to be successful with this New York Jets team. And the New York Jets had that same mentality. Let's go ahead. I got it pulled up. Let's go ahead and look at the depth chart currently for the New York Jets. At quarterback, Geno Smith, Cook, Zappe, Klubnik. We'll talk about him. Hall, they're talking about now that the draft is over, it's time to revisit the contract talks with Breece Hall. Darren Muji came out and said that they haven't talked ever since they gave him the franchise tag. They weren't able to come to an agreement there. But now it's time to have those talks. So wide receiver, you have Garrett Wilson, Williams, you have Mitchell, Smith, Cooper. Now you have Tyrod Taylor. You have Kenyon Sadiq. You still have Jeremy Ruckert. And then it goes to the offensive line. Our guys, Fashanu, Mitchell, Parham, Newman, Myers, Titman, Cooper, new draft pick, Membu, I don't know how to say his name, Chukwuma. Hopefully I said that right. But then when we take a look at the defensive edge, Bailey, McDonald, Osai, Onabari, dogs on that defensive line. Defensive tackles, Phillips, Onyemata, Sweat, Briggs, Jackson, new guy, big body, nasty, according to Aaron Glenn. Linebackers, Davis, Sherwood, Walker, can't say his name right, Mugoa, forgive me. Cornerback, Stevens, still got Stiggers. Cornerbacks, Ponce, new draft pick, compared to Aaron Glenn. Aaron Glenn loves him. This was an Aaron Glenn pick. Nashawn Wright, Thomas, Brownlee, Clark, safety position, Fitzpatrick, Belton, Payne, new draft pick, Moore, Cisco. This seems like it's starting to be a deep roster, not only on the defensive end, but on the offensive end as well. The Jets won the draft. That's what this video was about. Like I said, let me pull it up again. Let me pull it up one more time. For the people. For the people, man. I want you to tell everybody that we back up, man. We back up. We back up. Amazing first round from the New York Jets, especially trading up to get their guy that I think they wanted, but I think they realized that Omar Cooper was slipping, and they didn't want him to slip any further from 30. Made the trade with the San Francisco 49ers, actually. Let me go ahead and get that trade right for you guys real quick, because they made the trade with the San Francisco 49ers. Let's see what they gave up to go up in the round to get Omar Cooper. Let me pull this up for you so you can see it. Here's the trade. They trade their second round 33, the 33 pick in the second round, and the 179th fifth round pick in exchange for the 30 pick to go get Omar Cooper Jr., who looks like he's going to be an absolute dog on the outside. And if it's one person, that's the happiest. He even said it. If there's one person that's hype, like I said, it's that guy over there on that banister, Garrett Wilson. Now he has help in Kenyon Sadiq, in A.D. Mitchell, in Omar Cooper Jr. You're not going to be able to double Garrett Wilson the way you thought you was going to be able to double Garrett Wilson, which leads me to believe we're going to see a monster season. As long as Geno Smith is all right, as long as we don't get 2025 Geno Smith throwing 19 touchdowns, 19 interceptions, as long as we don't have that, as long as Geno Smith is able to deliver the ball, and like people have said, Geno Smith has matured. He's looking to spread the wealth around when it comes to this offense. Well, I think what also help Garrett Wilson, not force-feeding Garrett Wilson a rock every time, making your offense predictable. Now you have weapons like Kenyon Sadiq, Omar Cooper, A.D. Mitchell, Breece Hall. I expect them to get a deal done with Breece Hall. Getting Breece Hall deals done. This Jets offense, like I said, man, we back up. We back up, man. So you guys sound off in the comments. Let us know how you felt about the New York Jets draft, because like I said, put the word out that the Jets are back up. So that's going to be it for me on this show. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Like I said, we'll break down the draft over the course of the next couple days, leading up to the live show when the gang gets together and we can fully break down how we felt about the draft with me, Richie, Matt, Jake, and Dylan. But for now, salute to you guys for tuning in. Make sure you guys hit that like button on your way out. It lets us know that you're watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're new to the show and you like the content. Become part of the Jets Roundtable family, as well as sound off in the comments. Put an airplane chat in there. Put a fire emoji in there. Put a Let's Go Jets chat in there. Let's do it. The New York Jets look primed and ready to fly in 2026. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you were here with me on this Monday morning, and I appreciate that. Check you guys out next time